Morning, Jules here. Welcome to my channel. So this is a back to basics, and what we're looking at is TN journals. TN is Traveller's Notebook journals, and they come in many sizes. This is the preferred size I like, and this is 4¼ It's got an inch spine, and it's an A4 piece of paper, or a letter size in the US. Now, I covered it. I did a leather cover to go on, so it was craft card. In fact, it isn't. It's packaging, just cut into A4 size and scored, and then I covered it with leather. I'm not going to show you how to do that. I've done it twice. I will link the video. I promise I'll make a note to link the video. And then what I do is I score it at 4¼ an inch, 4¼ Sometimes I score that at an inch and have like a little flap over, but this time I've done a pocket. These are the ones I take on holiday with me, and I'll quickly show you some of my beloved journals. These I did brown. This is the latest one. I'm not going to go through it, but I do make notes of where we've been in Cyprus and things like that. I collect bits and pieces. I collect tickets. This is another Cyprus one. As you can see, there's photographs. And that was during lockdown. There's me and my husband with our masks on the plane. Sunsets, things like that. Tickets, I keep all tickets. Photographs. I think I even kept some napkins and did a bit of napkin folding. So there's another time we've been away. That was in 22 in Paphos. So I've got two. So what I do is I tend to use these again and again until they drop to bits. And I just put a little bit of elastic. Sometimes I put little dangles on them. As you can see, got my little dangles there. They're on the wrong side, but never mind. This is the oldest one of this style anyway. And it is because it was, I didn't really seal this one. So this is America. Me and Ty went to America, and that was the Rainbow Row in Charleston. Again, lots of photographs. That's Scully Square, where I'd been with my mum. There's me sat with a frog, and just bits and pieces. There's me and my husband out for a meal because we were in Kiowa Island. And I just love, you know, keeping notes. And another one here, that was me planning for it. There's more notes here of other holidays I've been on. This was when I went to Tunisia with my friend. This would have been, it was 2019. Again, I did kind of a diary style. There's some of the money. So I do like to journal my holidays. I don't write everything. It's just, you know, we went on a 2-day desert safari with that on camels. Never been on a camel before. Before that, I did these kind of things. This was a memory book, and these are die cuts, and I've still got them. Me and my sister did a trip, so we started off in Montgomery, and I put all my journaling on tags. Then we went to New Orleans, and again, you don't want to see me. Again, everything's on tags. I loved New Orleans. It was a brilliant place. We then went to Gracelands. We went to Tennessee. That's me and my sister in Grace's Diner. That's our tickets into Memphis. There's maps. Then we went to Nashville. And that was one of New Orleans and Nashville was my favourites. And again, I just did it all in tags and photographs and things like that. That wasn't the greatest way to do, although it looks pretty. But this was when I first started doing these, and I used sticky tape to stick the pages down. You do need glue. I'm sorry, sticky tape does not stay sticky. It dries up. Oh, something's just come through the door, so the dog's barking. Right. She's going a little bit deaf, and that's the first time she's heard anything in a long time. Anyway, and I've got other bits and pieces of when me and my mum did New England in the fall. So I absolutely love Traveller's Notebook style journals for taking on holiday. They fit in your handbag, as you can see. These have been in my handbag and out and in my case and everywhere, and there's flight tickets and all sorts. So I'm just going to shove these back out of the way. And I always like to do the leather, the faux leather. I suppose I could buy a leather one, but why? I like to know that I've done it myself. I'm
not quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, there we've got our internet speaker speaking. I must have, my mouth must have been too nearer. Anyway, so this is this. So it's 4 1/4 by 1 inch by 4 1/4, and I've put that over. Also, some people prefer passport style books to take away on holiday. I prefer these as my daily planners. I write my videos down. Again, there is a link for these, and there is a daily planner that's a perpetual calendar, so there's no date on it. You put your own numbers in, but you know, if you prefer something like that to write your bits and pieces down. So anyway, we're going to do this, and I make my own pages to go in here, and I usually make them out of either coffee dyed paper or some notebooks, anything like that. Some here. Where did I go looking for that? So all I want to do is I just want to reinforce that spine. So this needs to be, because that's 1 inch, I just want this slightly under 1 inch. Perfect. Just want it a little bit just in there and no more. And I'm just going to trim that off. We're going to stick this down. Well, we will, if I can get take that off. And the reason I'm reinforcing this is because I'm going to put holes in. So with the Traveller's Notebook, I prefer a Maduri style, so it has elastics, so you're not fixing in your pages. And if I just grab one of these, you'll see I've got 2 there, and it's so that I can take these out I make that one. I made a little wallet to go into to hold bits and pieces. That one I've not used fully, so I might use some of those pages to go in here. I'll put that there. And I like to put a hole in there. I usually use a Japanese hole punch, and then I thread my elastic, and it's just so it fastens. If you want, you can put an elastic round there. We might try with this one, put our elastic there. We'll see. And as you can see, these just fit in. That's just a list of my take them out. That's just, and that's practically perfect. So these are just I think papers I've printed off because I like graph papers, because when I'm traveling I like to sketch, I like to write, I like to draw, so I usually do a bit of everything. And so that is 7 3/4 by 7 1/4, and then I just fold them in half, and I can make a cover for them if I want. So what I need to do now is, and I'm going to use this ruler because this ruler is the easiest, because I can get the middle. So what I want is, I want 2 holes, and I want my holes about 1/2 inch in. So I'm just going to draw a line there. Let me have a look. Maybe it's not quite 1/2 inch. 1 2 3 3/8 in, and 1 2 3/8 in there, and then you can see that the hole's there and the elastic's going to fit round. So then find my middle, go to my 3/8, and I want a hole there and a hole there. Find my middle, so there's the middle. Find the middle, so that's where I want my middle hole. Find the middle again, and I want a hole there and a hole there. So I want 5 holes. I am going to use my big bite. It's hiding. I've had to get a new sewing machine. Right, so I'm using the smallest of the punches. Now I can see where I'm putting that hole. So there we are, I've got a hole. You have to use a Japanese hole punch. It's just that I'm going to put grommets in this. even using one of these, I can still get things not straight, believe me. I think we'll go with the... No, actually, we're not. We're going to go with the... I've got the gunmetal. Because it's black, we'll use the gunmetal. I'm going to struggle here because that's quite thick. However, that's fine. Oh, these have little rings to go on them. Now this is where I struggle with the big bite glue. Oh, that's just a little bit too much. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Whoop. Try and get these to stick down on the glue, and then I might be able to do them. That might solve that problem, because there's a special one for setting eyelets, but it still doesn't work for me, unfortunately. Now hopefully that it seems to have worked. Now I need to go up. Has that worked? Yes, it's worked. I've found it. So if you set an eyelet, so the ones with the little rings, on a big bite, you can, if you just drop a little bit of glue either side, and it just makes the little rings stick enough so that you can set it. Now because it's black, I can't. Okay, so I've got the middle. Now I want it round about there. So a hole there. And a hole there. And I can see the pencil. I'm hoping I can see it. Yeah. And again, we want to set these with, and again, I'm going to do the, and again, it's thick, but I'm not going to bother with the rings on this one because it's just the elastic going through. So there we are. So there, I've got that, and I'm going to cover that. I picked up the post as well that the dog barked at. One was a birthday card from my sister-in-law in America. It's not my birthday yet, it's not till next week. But I opened it up and it's so funny. It says, you know, when you're getting old, when you bend down to touch your toes and your boobs get there first. That's she just put inside, you're not there yet. It did make me giggle because that's my kind of sense of humour. I don't mean to offend anybody. Right. And if you hear a bell, it's my little dog. She's going deaf. She's slightly blind. She's going deaf. And we've got a little bell on her, so we know where she is. And also when we take her for a walk, when we take her around the fields and the parks, we take her off a lead because she's always been good without a lead. But obviously if she loses sight of us, she panics, and even if we shouted her, she wouldn't hear us, so we can usually find her quick. But in the, you know, when we're on the streets and things like that, she's on a lead. And she keeps coming up and down the stairs because she's looking for my husband. Right. And I could put something on there. I've been trimming down digitals because obviously I'm making smaller journals. And yeah, I could have put this on first, but it would have just added a layer. But as long as it's glued, you can poke the holes in, that's fine. Yeah, so next week I'll be officially a UK pensioner. I'm 66. Never thought I'd get to this age. Don't get me wrong, when I don't feel 66. Still feel like I did when I was in my 20s. It's just I creak a little bit more at the joints. And all I'm doing is I'm just opening those holes. And there we are. So what I usually do is I put it, I'll just cut this off because this is a bit, so I'll put it through there and through there because I don't want wires down there. So then I pull it tight, put it through there and through there, and this gives me two signatures. And then I pull it tight, and you don't want it too tight that it's going to bend your journal up. However, because it's got that bit of chipboard in there, it would need to be really strong to bend that in half. But you can do that, so you don't want it too tight. And then tighten a double knot. And then trim it. So there we have our smaller. So then what you do is you just put that there. Got one there. And you've got one there. If you want, you can take your hole punch and put little holes, you know, just sort of like a little notch out of there. And there you've got your notebook. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that through there. Oh no, we're not. I put one in there. So what you would normally do if you're doing that, you wrap that round, you put that in there, and then you tighten a knot. But I'm going to put that one. Did you see me doing that? So that's why I got this one out. So poke. This is the thick one. And poke. Let me trim that. That's better. Now what I want is I want a knot in here. Eventually these get squashed and they go flat. Pull that knot tight and pull it there. Pull that tight. Put a knot there. And just keep holding your knot and then pull that tight. That closes like that. So you've got that one, but I've still got a hole in there. So I'll maybe put a charm in there, just a little bit of a bead on the other side and a bit of thread. And if I wanted, I could put a charm on here as well. But what I want to do is I want to do a cover for my note journals. And so we'll make some covers for these. So these are 4 inches by 7 1/4. Now what I usually do is I make my covers from craft card, but I think what we'll do is we'll make it from black card, because I have got black card and I've got a nice piece here. So just that, and this is an A3, so I want just put that there. So I've got 4, so I just want it 8, just slightly over 8. By just over 7 1/4. And I'll do the other one, so it's 8 by 7 1/4. I've just done it an 1/8 larger than 8. And you can score down the middle, or you can just fold them in half like that. There, my husband's coming in, the dog's going to go mental in a minute because her daddy's home. Yeah. He's brought me a coffee. I'll just lift that up. Put that in there. Alright, so I'm going to have to trim this one down a little bit again. For some reason it's not. It's longer than what it was. Sorry about that. And I'm just rounding the corners. I like to round the corners on these. And then put that in there. I've actually miscalculated on the, it's kind of not. So we've got that. So maybe I should have made it a little bit bigger, but never mind. We'll take this one out and again. Just bear with me one moment. Right, so I'm back. So that's I've manoeuvred the knot down to the bottom. I'll see what I can do with that, because what I might do is stitch it together and then put something on there. I'm not quite sure yet, but we will. It stretches and maneuvers with time. So there you've got your two like that, and then you can decorate these how you like. I mean, I usually stamp journal, so then what I would do is I would use that. I'll probably change that, but I'm going to the States at the end of the year, so I'll use this for my USA. So I might you know, put journal USA. I've got some lettuce, separate lettuce stamps, or even cut the, you know, the letters out on my scan and cut. So basically that is your traveller's note journal. And if you want, you can put you know, you can put pens in them. You can put a pen in there. I did have, yeah, we have, that's maybe, and that's like a little box. Let me see if that'll fit in. Yep. So this is made out of black card, and all I did was use this bit of black card, and I used, that's a pencil. So we'll use a crease board. So 1/4 inch is just too much, so we'll go to 3/8. So we want, and what is that one? Yeah, that one's 3/8. So I want 4 sides, so it's 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, 3/8, and a little bit to tuck in. And I want it deeper than that, so I want it the size of, let me have a look, let me get a pen out. Yeah. So I want my pen to sit I want the little lip to go over, so we want it about there. But also I need, that needs to be 3/8, so I'm just going to trim it off there. Now this is the bottom. Now what I do want is, I want a 3/8 crease right along the bottom there. And then I want 3/8. That gonna fit? Yep. Then I want 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 on the third one. 1, 2, 3 on the third one. That's my second side. 1, 2, 3 on the third side. 1, 2, 3 on the fourth side, and then I want 2/8 as an overlap. So I'm just going to trim that off at the 2/8. Move that out the way. So what I want to do is I want to fold all these creases over. And again. And then fold it over so we've got the 2/8. In fact, this is probably, I think this is 270 GSM, so maybe you could use 180. So we've got them. So I want to cut this little piece out because I don't need that. Then I want this bit here, cut up all them. Then that fits in there. I'm going to do it I'm just folding it the opposite way just to, now the little flap, I'm just going to put some glue on it. Now if you want, you can cover this with paper, it's entirely up to you. And what I do is I put something in just to and just make sure that's sticking down well. And then fold it flat like that. Make sure it's stuck. So now you've got a square. Then what we want to do is I'm going to fold one in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little slither off each flap. That one looks as if it's all right. It was just the two. So we'll fold one in, put a little dab of glue on, and then fold that one over and push something in like that. Little dab of glue again. And you won't get it perfect. Well, you might. I never get it perfect. And then just push that down. By the time you get to the third and fourth flap, everything's kind of stiff. And there we are. We have our pen. So then you would take your and put that down like that, and that like that. You would stick it down, and I think that's what I'll do. I think what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of ribbon out of that hole. Put this side in. Now where's my and there we are, we'll put that there. And I'm just going to tie, well, I was going to tie it in a knot, but I'm not now. I'm just going to put that there. And put that on top like that. And the two books will hold it down. As you can see, I did put some paper on that one, but I'm not going to bother. And there we are. So we have our pen holder. I'm just going to check, see if I can get one of my other pens. All of that. think that maybe is a little bit too fat. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's enough to stick within. I was looking for my Papermate pins, but that'll do. And there I've got a pin inside as well. And I've still got a little bit of ribbon to do, put baubles or whatever on there. So that's that. So I hope you get something out of that. I'm not going to put anything on there yet because I haven't decided what I want on there, but it will be either kind of a line of buttons or beads or something. And it probably will only, well, by the time, because if I put beads on, I'll tie it in a knot and that'll bring it up a little bit more. But that's my traveller's notebook, so that's an easy follow. And as I say, I will put the link for faux leather, however you can look up on YouTube and see how it's done. There's quite a few different methods. It's just that I use glycerine, watered down, and it's usually craft card or black card that I use. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.